So hi guys, hello everyone. So on behalf of ABM, I'm here to give you an introduction. So we are here to present to you everything that we have learned from our subject, Fundamentals of Accounting 1 or FABM 1. So as for our introduction, I'm here to explain to you everything about accounting. Ano ba to? Tungkol ba saan ng accounting? What are things na consider sa accounting? Ano ba yung mga financial statements na yan? Malalaman natin yan. So, bear with us and stay tuned until this video ends. So, yun. That's all. Let's go. Bye! Ayan guys, so we're here pa rin sa introduction natin sa ating basic accounting. Basic accounting, literal na basic po yan. Maniwala kayo. Ayan, so accounting, let's define first what is accounting. Ako yung naritin na dyan. So accounting, it is a process of identifying, measuring, communicating information. So dito, nag-measure tayo, ina-identify natin yung mga information na nangyayari sa business natin to help the users in their decision making and also to monitor performances. So, ang accounting pala, it is a monitoring process. Mino-monitor natin kung ano na ba yung mga performance ng business natin. Okay, so let's further explain pa ano pa ito. So, for example, si Ma'am Z, nagtayo siya ng milk tea shop. Kasi mahilig siya sa milk tea, ganyan. Siyempre, yung mga flavors, iba-iba. Wala namang connect. Pero, ayan, nagtayo siya ng milk tea shop. And, syempre, yung mga raw materials na gagamitin niya, syempre, kukunin niya sa mga suppliers niya. And, si Ma'am Zing nang bahala kung paano niya i-create yung product niya till she sell it sa kanyang mga customer. So, hindi mawawala sa isang business yung pagmamonitor. It depends na lang talaga sa owner or sa manager ng business kung anong season nila i-monitor. If it's annual ba or quarterly. So, pag sinabi nating annually, ito ay year by year. Doon nyo lang minomonitor yung performance ng business nyo. Meron naman na quarterly, ganun. So, kay Ma'am Z, naisipan niya, yearly siya mag-monitor. So, from halimbawa, January 1 to December 31. So, kailangan niyang ma-monitor yun. Siyempre, para makita niya kung ano ba yung mga kailangan pang i-improve sa business ko, ano ba yung mga dapat, ano ba yung performance niya, paano ba, or saan ba nagkulang yung business ko, ganun. So, yan na, yung pagpasok at paglabas ng pera, doon mo siya makikita. So, yun na nga, performances would be reported through financial statements. So, yung mga reports na tinatawag natin na yan, tawag dyan ay financial statements. So, sa financial statements, meron tayong 5. Ayan sila. Ayan. Balance sheet, income statement, statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flows, notes to financial statement. So, sa financial statement, ito yung nilalaman ng mga to. Yan, lahat yan. At ang goal nito is to record, syempre, lahat ng nangyayaring transaction sa business mo. Ano ba yung way ng pagpasok at paglabas ng pera sa business mo? Ano ba yung mga nangyaring events? So, yun yan. Pag hiningaan kayo ng report sa business nyo, ito yung lahat, financial statement at tawag doon. Okay, so mag-focus muna tayo sa balance sheet, ang pinaka-basic. So, balance sheet. Ayan, dito siya. Dito nakikita natin yung strength and yung stability ng business natin. Since, balance sheet, kailangan lahat ng ano ay balance. So, sa balance sheet, meron tayong 3 elements. So, we have assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. So, sa assets, ito yung mga ownership and resources ng business natin. Ito yung mga pagmamay-ari. Ito yung pinagkukunan ng business natin. And liabilities, obligations naman. Ayan, creditors. Dito tayo may mga loans or utang natin. Utang ng business natin sa iba. So, owner's equity, ito naman yung owner's capital. So, lahat yung isa-isayin natin. Sa asset, again, pagmamay-ari siya. So, we have here cash. Yan, ito yung mga asset natin. Cash na pwede natin makuha sa suppliers, sa employees, sa customers. AR or accounts receivable. Ito na yung mga advance payment on account. Equipments, rents, mga automobiles, furnitures, and so on. Lahat ng pagmamay-ari ng business natin mapupunta sa asset. Asset ang tawag doon. So, liabilities, as I've said kanina, it is the company's obligations, mga creditors. Dito tayo may mga utang. Ayan. We have here loans payable, accounts payable. So, sa accounts payable, actually, in contrast siya dito kay accounts receivable. Si accounts receivable, yung payment mare-receive mo in the future. And yung accounts payable naman, ikaw mismo as a business owner na may utang, magpe-pay ka in the future. Okay? So, lastly is the owner's equity. Owner owner's capital. Ayan. Sa owner's equity, may mga bagay tayong maaaring maka-apekto sa owner's equity. Maaaring makapag-increase or makapag-decrease. So, sa initial investment, syempre, mag-i-increase ang capital ni owner kapag nag-invest siya. So, pag sinabi natin initial investment, ito yung pinaka-first investment ng owner sa kanyang business. For example, si Ma'am Z, para masimulan niya yung milk tea shop, nag-invest siya ng 1 million. So, yun yung initial investment. Increase, yun. And, mare-decrease siya kapag may withdrawings, ganun. Personal use. So, for example, si Ma'am Z, kumuha siya ng pera sa business niya para pambili ng mga pagkain niya sa bahay. Personal use. Yan, nabawasan yung capital ng business mo. Kasi nga, nagbawas ka. Revenues, pag sinabi natin revenues, ito yung income natin. Ito yung mga cash or mga income na pumapasok sa account natin, sa business natin. Okay, nag-increase yan, syempre. Expenses. Pag sinabi expenses, syempre, nababawasan. Lahat ng meron tayo na pinapambayad natin is expenses. So, nagkakaroon ng kabawasan sa ating capital. So, again, ito yung mga basic na elements na kailangan nating malaman sa basic accounting. So, parang ano din yan, accounting equation. Hindi ko pala siya nasulat. So, sa accounting equation natin, accounting equation, asset is equals to liabilities plus the owner's equity. So, kailangan balance sila. That's why balance sheet, di ba? Balance sheet. Kasi dapat balance sila. Pag plusin mo yung liabilities na owner's equity, kapag nag-equal siya sa asset, ibig sabihin balance ang value ng business mo. Okay? So, ayun lang para sa ating hapyaw lang yan, guys. Basic na, ano lang yan, intro lang talaga yan. So, marami pa tayong matututunan and let's dig more about accounting. So, ayan. That's all. Naway marami tayong matutunan ngayong sa buong lesson na ito. Buong video na ito. Stay tuned, guys. Bye!
Today, we are going to discuss about the 8 branches of accounting, which is the financial accounting, management accounting, government accounting, auditing, tax accounting, cost accounting, accounting education, and accounting research. Financial accounting is branches of accounting that deals with the record of a business transaction, and those transactions will be summarized, and that will be the final output, but which we call financial statement. Second is the management accounting. The management accounting is in a word of management, we collect information to be used by the management, primarily used for the decision making for the management or the owner of the company. Next is government accounting. Government accounting is a process of recording, analyzing, classifying, and summarizing the financial information about the government or politics that we use in an economic event. Next is auditing. Auditing is checking and verifying. There's are 2 types of auditing, which is the internal and external. Internal auditing, it is checking the operation of a business if it is in line with the company policy. It is also knowing what is their strength and weaknesses when it comes to their business. For the external audit, it is checking and verifying the financial statement for the user to check if the financial statement are correct. Next is the tax accounting. Tax is all the taxes that we paid for the government, so the accountant can deal with the computation of that and how to report taxes information properly. Next is a cost accounting. Cost accounting is where all your expenses will go. This is the record of your expenses, which is will record the materials of your business, the ingredients, if of your business. This is all about the cost and expenses of your business transactions. Next is accounting education. Accounting education is all about teaching about accounting, finance to the ABM students or accountancy students, for them to learn all about the finance or the transaction that they needed for their learning. Last of the branches of accounting is accounting research. Accounting research is a process.
Good day everyone, I'm Espinosa. I will discuss the four differences types of accounting. I will explain first is financial accounting. Financial accounting is the process of recording, summarizing, and reporting a company's business transactions through financial statements. These statements are the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. Sa financial accounting is, ito yung sa isang kumpanya is nagbibigay siya ng information. Siya yung nagpo-provide to give an information. And then, explain ko yung the income statement. Yung income statement is yung perang pumapasok sa kumpanya or sa isang business. And then sa balance sheet naman po is yung dito po nilalagay yung transaction ng isang kumpanya. Kumbaga yung mga gastusin, kung magkano rin yung pumapasok na pera. And then sa the cash flow statement naman is dito kumbaga ginagawa nila to para mag-invest and then para madagdagan yung perang invest nila or para magkaroon sila ng pondo sa isang kumpanya or business. And the second types of accounting is management accounting. Management accounting sa managerial accounting, also called management accounting, is a method of accounting that creates statements, reports, and documents that help management in making better decisions related to their business performance. Para sa akin, yung management accounting is nakatulong talaga siya kumpanya. Kumbaga, para sa akin, napaka-importante nito kasi nakatulong siya sa pagbibigay ng decision, and then nakakasolve din siya ng problem. Hindi mawawala sa kanya yung planning, yung pagbabudget, tsaka yung yung cause and effect, lalo na yung performance analysis. Ayun lang. The third types of accounting is government accounting. Government accounting is concerned with the process of systematic recording, classifying, summarizing, and interpreting the financial transaction of the government. Para sa akin, yung government accounting is sila yung nagko-collect ng tax sa mga business, and then yung nako-collect nila mula sa lower class na pumunta sa higher class, which is sa president. And then kapag na-claim naman ng president, ito yung kumbaga nagiging pera ng mga lawyer. Ayun lang. So guys, and the last types of accounting is auditing accounting. Auditing accounting is an examination of the organization's financial information which is conducted by an independent auditor with the aim to ensure that the information is represented fairly and accurately and in accordance with accounting standards. And eto naman, yung auditing accounting naman is sila yung sa financial statement, inaalam nila kung tama ba lahat or kung may kulang ba. And then sa sila yung nag-audit sa isang kumpanya. And then binibigay nila yung best nila sa position nila sa pagpapakita ng mga performance, ganun. Ayun lang.
Good day everyone. I'm now here to discuss the forms of business organization. So I'll be able to define, explain, and identify the advantages and disadvantages of each form. So we have here a sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, and cooperatives. So let's discuss the sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship, also referred to as a sole trader or a single proprietorship, is an unincorporated business that has just one owner. So dito sa sole proprietorship, isa lang ang owner. Example, naisipan mong o napag-desisyonan mong magtayo ng isang business and meron ka namang sapat na pera, pwede kang magpatayo. And here, it says the sole proprietorships are easy to establish and dismantle. Dismantle, hindi naman sa madaling pabagsakin. Sabihin na natin, madaling i-turn over o ipa-stop or pahintuin due to a lack of government involvement, making them popular with small business owner and contractors. So let's proceed to the advantages of sole proprietorship. So we have very easy to form. So dahil nga naisipan mo, kumari nga, sinabi ko kanina, naisipan mo magtayo ng isang business, madali mo na lang siyang may papatayo. So, lahat ng effort na ibinigay mo dun sa negosyo mong yon, sa'yo lang din mapupunta lahat ng reward. So, dahil nga, nag-iisa yung owner, sa'yo lahat ng control, at mapapadali yung mga decisions. So, we will be able to have economical and efficient operation. So, personal touch. So, lahat ng gusto mong gawin din sa business mo, kahit ano man yan ay pwede. For example, yung sa tinayo mong coffee shop business, naisipan mong magkaroon ng another option like milk tea. Yung na kailangang maghingi ng permiso sa iba, nasa sa'yo lahat ng desisyon because you're the only owner of that business. So, it will keep the business simple, dynamic, and flexible. So, if we have an advantages, we surely have a disadvantages. So, small size. Usually, yung sole proprietorship, hindi siya ganun kalaki. So, hindi na mag-expect yung owner na mapalaki yung business niya kasi limited lang yung capital niya. So, limited life. Tumigil yung isang owner, titigil na rin yung business niya. For example, magta-travel yung isang owner. Naisipan niya mag-travel. So, wala siya mapag-iiwanan ng business niyang yon. So, it will going to lacks professional skills and talent. Di katulad ng ibang forms ng business organization na baka yung iba merong professional skills and talent. So, dito kasi baka isa dito ang wala siya. So, unlimited liability and growth prospects. So, unlimited lang yung liability mo and yung growth prospects mo, hindi na siya inaasahan ng isang owner kasi maliit lang yung business mo. So, parang hindi siya ganun kakilala or hindi siya ganun ka-famous. So, gaya nga nasabi ko kanina, limited lang yung capital and sa risk of wrong decisions, kapag nagkaroon ka ng maling desisyon, yung negosyo mo ay magkakaroon ng problema. So, tapos na tayo sa sole proprietorship, let's move on to the partnership. By the contract of partnership, 2 or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves. So, dito, 2 or more yung pwede maging may-ari ng isang negosyo. So, gawan ako ng example. Para 3 kayong magkaibigan. So, ako kunwari, wala akong money, wala rin akong property, which is, yung isa kunwari sa kaibigan ko ay merong money, and merong yung isa property. So, meron akong, skills. Like, nagtayo kami ng bakery shop. So, ang gagastos yung isa kong kaibigan and the another kaibigan is siya yung sa property. So, dahil ako, meron akong talent and skills na mag-bake, yun yung possession ko. So, two or more persons may also form a partnership for the exercise of a professions. So, let's have here the advantages. So, bridging the gap in expertise and knowledge. So, dito matutugunan nyo, like, kunwari ako, wala akong expertise and knowledge about dun sa negosyo namin. But, one of my partnership is expertise and knowledgeable siya about dun sa negosyo namin. So, hindi magkakaroon ng problema sa ginawa naming business. So, kung siya naman ay hindi knowledgeable at ako naman yung may knowledge doon and expertise, hindi talaga magkakaroon ng problema sa kumpanya, which is advantage talaga siya. So, here we have a more cash and properties. So, di katulad mo sa sole proprietorship na hindi ganun kalaki. So, dito naman, pwedeng
operating cycle of merchandising companies. So, alam naman po natin na yung cash on hand, yun po yung puhunan na gagamitin natin para makapagbenta po tayo, makapagtayo tayo ng isang negosyo. Then, buy goods, yun na po yung bibili tayo ng product to the other companies para ibenta po natin. Stores good or inventory. So, dito na po natin idadalin yung product natin sa isang inventory or sa isang room kung saan alam nating safe yung ibebenta nating product. Then, punta na po tayo sa sell inventory. Sell inventory po, dito po, pupunta tayo sa isang room para magbenta. Or para punta tayo sa isang place para ibenta yung ating product na nabili from other companies. Then, receive payment from customers. Yun na po yung bayad na makukuha nyo from the customers. Hi, my name is Andre Gasayarse, your reporter for today. So for today's topic, we have types of businesses according to service and activities. We have three major types of businesses. First is the service company. Service company are peers that generally use their employees to provide intangible product or services to customers. So, alam naman po natin na services companies, ito po yung ginagamitan ng skills, professions, or other experience based on their professions. So, the biggest example here is the teachers. So, alam naman po natin na ang teachers ay nagtuturo. And yun po yung way nila para kumita sila ng money. And then, the other example here is the barbershop, salon, and the spa. So, alam naman po natin na ang puhunan nila doon ay ang kanilang kakayahan o ang kanilang experience base sa kanilang nararanasan sa totoong buhay. So, may operating cycle po tayo pagdating sa service company. First is yung cash on hand. Yung po yung tinatawag natin na puhunan. Siyempre, pag tatayo ka ng business, kailangan mo ng puhunan, di ba? Then, pays employees and other expenses. So, kukuha ka rin ng tao dito. Yung tao na yon, yun yung may skills na gagamitin mo para kumita. And babayaran mo sila. And yung other expenses po, yung po yung product na gagamitin natin sa pagtatrabaho. Then, perform services. Dito na po papasok yung ipe-perform mo na yung services sa isang customer. Then, last is the receive payment from customers. Siyempre, yung paggawa mo sa kanila, may bayad yon. And yun po yung kukunin mo pang-recover sa nagamit mong puhunan. Dun po umiikot yung operating cycle ng service company. The second major types of businesses is the merchandising companies. Merchandising companies sell tangible product. This type of businesses pays finished or almost finished goods from their suppliers and resell the same to customers. So, ang merchandising customers po, ito po yung pumibili sila ng buong product sa isang companies para ibenta ulit, which is pagre-resell ng product. So, the biggest example po dito ay ang mga online sellers. Let's say, yung mga online shoppings, gaya na lang po ng Shoppings, Lazada, TikTok, or other online shoppers na kumukuha ng product para magbenta ulit. Then, example ko po dito ay mga online seller. So, alam naman po natin na nagla-live sila para makabenta. And yung ginagamit po nila na product doon is binili din po nila from the other companies. May two types of merchandising companies po tayo. First is the retailer. The retailer is merchandising companies that sells good directly to customers. Kumbaga, ito na po yung pagkabili nila, diretso benta na po sila. So, sa customer na po yon. Then, yung wholesaler naman po, sila po yung merchandising company that sell goods to retailers. Kumbaga, ito po, mamili po sila ng product from other companies, then ibebenta po nila ito sa retailers para maibenta po ulit nila sa customer. Gaya nga po sabi ko, yung retailers po, sila po yung nagbebenta directly sa customer agad. Dito po sa wholesaler, binili po nila yung isang product sa isang company, then binenta po nila sa retailers para ibenta sa customer. So, diretso na po operating cycle of merchandising companies. So, alam naman po natin na yung cash on hand, yun po yung puhunan na gagamitin natin para makapagbenta po tayo, makapagtayo tayo ng isang negosyo. Then, buy goods, yun na po yung bibili tayo ng product to the other companies para ibenta po natin. Stores good or inventory. So, dito na po natin idadalhin yung product natin sa isang inventory or sa isang room kung saan alam nating safe yung ibebenta nating product. Then, punta na po tayo sa sell inventory. Sell inventory po, dito po, pupunta tayo sa isang room para magbenta or para punta tayo sa isang place para ibenta yung ating product na nabili from other companies. Then, receive payment from customers. Yun na po yung bayad na makukuha nyo from the customers. So, let's move on to manufacturing companies. Manufacturing companies or simply manufactures buy materials, convert them into real product, and then sells the product to other companies or to the final customers. So, dito po sa manufacturing companies, dito na po yung pumapasok yung mga raw materials na binibili ng isang kumpanya para gawing product nila. First example here is the sardines. So, alam naman po natin na yung isda ay hindi ginagawa ng isang kumpanya. Ito po ay galing sa dagat or sa lawa. So, sabihin na lang po natin na binibili nila yung isda sa magsasaka para gawing sardinas in a can. So, yung can naman po, hindi naman po natin basta-basta magagawa yun. So, binibili din po nila yung gamit doon. So, yun po yung example ko ng manufacturing companies. So, may cycle din po ang manufacturing companies. Gaya na lang po ng cash on hand. Yun po yung, kaya nga po nasabi ko kanina, yun po yung puhunan nila. Then, paid for output. Kumbaga, ito na po yung binibili na po nila yung product from other companies. Yung mga raw materials. Then, convert input into finished goal. Kumbaga, ito na po yung dito na po pumapasok yung product na nagawa natin or yung finished product na nagawa natin. Then, store finished good as inventory. So, dito na po natin makikita na nilalagay po natin siya sa isang inventory para ma-secure na safe yung product natin bago natin ibenta. Then, move on to sales inventory. So, yun na po. Doon na po natin siya ilalagay sa sales inventory para mabenta na po sa isang market. Then, receive payment from customers. Doon na po natin kukunin yung pera sa customers or yung bayad nila. So, let's move on to the advantages or disadvantages of the businesses. First is the service companies. Yung advantages po niya is absence of inventory and no production facilities. So, dito po, wala tayong ginagamit na product or mas less siya sa inventory kasi ginagamit po natin ay ang ating skills. Then, yung disadvantages po is inability to standardize services and her training human capital. Yun lang po sa service company. Then, sa merchandising companies po, yung visible product and less conversion time and efforts, yun po yung advantages niya. Then sa disadvantage naman po is managing inventory. Sa manufacturing companies naman po, nandito po yung quality control and visible product for advantages. And disadvantages po is generally needs production facilities, high conversion cost of quality control, and managing inventory. So that's all po para sa ating types of businesses according to services and camp activities. Bye-bye! Ay, di pa pala ako tapos.
So today we were going to discuss the accounting principle and concept. We have GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principle. It is one of the most important in accounting concept principle. So let's discuss some of the different accounting concepts. So the first concept that we will be discussing is economic entity or accounting entity. In this concept, the personal transaction of the owner are separate from that he or she lalagyan natin ng borderline. Kung ano yung transaction ng business, transaction lang ng business. Kung ano yung transaction ng owner, transaction lang ng owner. Hindi mo siya pwedeng pagsamahin. So, when the owner spends money for a birthday party ng anak niya, at personal niyang pera yung ginamit niya, that is not business transaction. Kasi pera niya yung ginamit. Next, we have actual basics of accounting. In accounting, we record revenue when it is earned, and expense when it happens. Regardless kung kailan mo na-receive yung cash at kung kailan ka nagbayad ng cash. For example, if the revenue event happens in January, at na-receive mo yung bayad ng customer mo sa iyo ng February, transaction pa rin yun ng January. You need to record that on January kasi doon yung nangyayari. We also have going concern concept. The company will continue operating indefinitely until the foreseeable future. We are looking on the business firm as it will not close forever. So going concern principle is our guiding principle that we record transaction as if there's no closure because we don't need to protect, because our mindset is that the business will continue operating. We also have monetary unit concept. So, sa monetary unit, in the Philippines, we recorded the transaction in Philippine peso kasi nasa Pilipinas tayo. We also have time period concept or in actual practice po na ginagawa natin, as usually, nagre-report tayo ng financial reports or financial statements annually, kada taon, na pwede natin either maging calendar year, which is January 1 of the year until December 31. And then, kapag fiscal year naman is a starting point na hindi January, tapos dadagdagan mo siya ng 4 months. So, let's move on some more accounting principles that we need to learn. First, we have cost principle. Amount shown in financial reports that are historical costs. Ibig sabihin, kung magkano yung na-receive mong pera, or kung magkano yung nakuha mong pera, or kung ano yung pinambili mo ng bagay na yun, yun yung i-record mo. Yun yung historical cost mo. Kahit, ibig sabihin, kapag nakakita ka ng accounting reports ng 2012, yun talaga siya. Kung magkano siya ng 2012. We do not have adjusted to the inflation except for hyperinflation. We also have full disclosure principle in which the accountant should include all of the information needed so that the reader of the financial may inform the judgment. So, ibig sabihin ng full disclosure principle, sundin mo kung ano yung sinasabi ng accounting standards na kailangan din disclose mo or sinasabi mo sa financial report. Pagka sinasabing full disclosure kasi pinapaalam mo o sinasabi mo, in accounting we are required as accountant to disclose everything. para malinaw at para yung information na nabibigay natin is sufficient so that the reader of the financial can make a good judgment and good decision. We also have matching principle, matching revenue with expenses to know the profits of the business. Hindi po pwede na maglilista ka lang ng lahat ng kinita mo. Hindi rin pwede na may lista ka lang ng lahat ng ginastos mo. So, in accounting, we match them together. Ito yung lahat ng kinita ko, revenue. Ito yung lahat ng nagastos ko, expenses. Both of them should be matched together. Pag mas malaki yung revenue kaysa sa expenses, kumita ka. Pero kapag mas malaki yung expenses mo kaysa sa revenue, malulugi ka yan. We deal with the matching principle. Hindi lang basta nag-record ka ng revenue at expenses mo. Dapat minamatch mo sila together.
Uses of accounting information. Accounting information generated through the accounting process is used by various stakeholders for diverse purposes, including making informed business decisions, evaluating performance, and ensuring compliance with regulations. Under of account information, we have internal users. Internal users of accounting information are individuals within a business organizations who utilize financial data for decisions making related to the company's operation and strategic planning, including management, employees, and owners. Under of internal users, we have management. This includes all level of management, from top-level executive, CEO, CFO, COO, to middle-level managers like department heads and branch manager, and lower-level managers like supervisors and foremen. They use accounting information to plan, analyze, and make decisions about the business. Examples includes decisions on budgets, resources allocation, performance evaluation, and strategic planning. Next is employees. May use accounting information to understand the company's financial health and performance, which can impact their jobs, salaries, and benefits. Lastly, owners. In small businesses, especially sole proprietorship and partnership, the owners are also internal user as they are involved in day-to-day operation and management of the businesses. They use accounting information to assess the company's profitability, make investment decisions, and ensure the business financial stability.
So, ngayon ang i-discuss naman natin ay external users. So, external users, individuals or organizations outside the company who are not involved in the operating the business. So, external users, sila naman yung nasa labas ng company na hindi involved sa organizations.
So next ay meron tayong revenue recognition principle. Recognize revenue when goods are sold or services are rendered regardless of cash receipt. So meaning nito, kailangan na once na naibigay na natin yung ating services or products sa ating mga customers, kailangan na i-record na natin or ilista na natin yung mga revenue na nakuha natin galing doon sa ating mga sales. So next ay meron tayong materiality. In accounting, materiality refer to the impact of an omission of misstatement of information in a company's financial statements on the user of those statements. If probably that user of the financial statements would have altered their actions, if the information have not been omitted or misstated, then the item is considered to be material. So, ayun nga sabi dito, once na mali yung nailagay natin doon sa ating financial statements, maaari yung makaapekto sa operation ng ating company and makakonsider siya as materiality or material. Next naman ay meron tayong conservatism.
If there are two acceptable alternatives in a situation, choose the alternative that will result in lesser income or resource. So, base dito sa conservatism, sabi dito, kailangan na i-record lang daw natin yung ating mga transaction once na sure tayo na matatanggap natin or makukuha natin yung ating revenue or yung ating income. Last ay meron tayong objectivity. Recording and reporting process should be performed with independence which is free from bias. So sabi dito, kailangan daw na kapag nagre-record tayo ng ating mga transactions, ay kailangan na walang magbabago or kailangan free tayo sa bias. Hindi natin babaguhin kung ano yung naging mismong transactions sa ating company.
So, ano nga ba ang General Journal? The General Journal is considered the book of original entry. This means it's the first place where all financial transactions are recorded in chronological order. It acts like a diary of the business financial activity. So, dito, sa General Journal, or tinatawag daw na, or kino-considered as the book of original entry, dito daw yung unang place kung saan yung mga financial transactions is na-record in by dates, yung pagkakasunod by dates. And tinuturing siyang diary ng Business Financial Act. So, ano naman ang journalizing process? So, the journalizing process involves recording transactions in the General Journal. This process follows the double-entry bookkeeping system, which means every transaction affects at least two accounts. One account is debited and the other is credited. So, sa proseso ng pag-journalize ay yung pagtatala ng mga transactions ng General Journal. So, dito, sa proseso na to, yung parang kasunod siya ng double entry bookkeeping system. Ibig sabihin daw, kada transaction ay nakaka-affect sa at least dalawang account. Yung isang account is debited and yung isa is credited. So, dako naman tayo sa special journals. Special journals are used to simplify the recording of high-volume, repetitive transactions. These journals categorize transactions based on their nature, such as sales, purchase, cash receipts, or cash disbursement. So, yung special journals daw ay ginagamit upang gawing mas madali ang pagtatala ng mga transaction na madalas nangyayari at paulit-ulit. So, yung special journals daw, naka-base yung category niya, naka-base siya dun sa transaction, such as yung sales nga, purchases, cash receipts, and cash disbursement. So here we have different special journals. The first one is cash receipt journal. Here, this journal records all cash inflows or receipts into the business. So, dito yung journal ay nagtatala ng lahat ng mga pagpasok o pagtanggap ng pera sa negosyo. Example, recording cash received from customers for sales or cash received from investment. Sa pangalawa naman is cash disbursement journal. This journal records all cash outflows or payments made by the business. So, dito naman nagtatala ng lahat ng mga paglabas o pagbabayad ng cash mula sa negosyo. Example is recording cash paid to suppliers for purchases or cash paid for salaries and rent. So, the next one is sales journal. So, the journals record all credit sales made by the business. So, dito naman ay nagtatala ng lahat ng mga benta sa credit o benta sa account ng negosyo. Example is recording sales made to customers on credit terms. So, meron naman tayong purchase journal. So, this journal records all credit purchases made by the business. So, yung journal na ito ay nagtatala naman ng lahat ng mga pagbili sa credit o pagbili sa account ng negosyo. Example is recording purchases made from suppliers on credit. So let's have here an example of a general journal. On October 28, 2019, Mr. De La Rosa purchased a motorcycle cost 110,000 pesos. He paid 80,000 pesos cash and agreed to pay the remaining 30,000 pesos within the month. So, the compound entry is as follow. So, yung date nilagay sa date, which is in December 28, 2019. Then sa account entry explanation, nilagay yung motorcycle vehicle cash, which is yung 110,000 pesos ang cost. Then, account payable to record purchase of motorcycle by paying cash and the balance on account. Kasi 80,000 pesos yung binayaran niya muna, which is, ayun nga, nilagay natin sa credit. And nag-agree siya na babayaran niya yung remaining na 30,000 pesos within the month na nilagay din sa credit. So, that's all. Thank you.
So in special journal, we use different special journal, which is the cash receipt journal, cash disbursement journal, sales journal or sales on account journal, purchase journal or purchase on account journal. In cash receipt journal, this is used to record all the cash that has been received. Next is cash disbursement journal, used to record all transactions involve cash payments. Next is sales journal or sales on account journal, used to record all sales on credit or on account. Next is purchase journal or purchase on account journal, used to record all the inventory on credit or on account. So this is the example of cash receipt journal, which is the first column is the doc-no, which is the no of your document. This is the day and details, and this is the reference. Analysis of receipt, bank, sales, sundry account. It is the amount, the reference, and the details. So first, let's start with the first example, which is Bimbi, the owner, invested 300,000 in the business issue, received in 010. So the document number would be the 010. So we will put in here. The day is it is the first day. And the detailed, it is the name of the owner, the reference now, this is of the receipt. This is where how much your invest, which is 300,000. But since this is the only amount you receive, you also put it in the bank. So you invested, so means you didn't earn or didn't get the sale. So we're going to put in sundry account. In sundry account, we will put the amount that he invested, which is the 30,000, and the details. This is the name of the account. So the name of your account would be the capital. So this is the first problem of the sales receipt analysis. This is only an example.
Okay, so good day everyone. I am Sharda Victoria Navarro and I will be your tutor for today's video. Okay, so again, we're still in the process of accounting cycle na ating tinatalakay since kanina pa. Okay, so step 1 is explain na, which is the identifying and analyzing. So ngayon naman, dumako naman tayo sa step 2 natin, which is the journalizing process. So ano nga ba yung ginagawa sa journalizing, or ano ba itong journalizing na ito? Okay, so yung journalizing, it is the practice of documenting a business transaction in accounting records. So, basically, ang journalizing, nagre-record ka ng mga transactions mo. Okay. And every business transaction is recorded in a journal, also known as a book of original entry in chronological order. So, isa pa sa journalizing, yung pagre-record mo ng transactions mo, it is in chronological order. So, pag sinabi natin chronological, it is timely. Kung ano yung pinaka-naunang date, unang date ng transactions, yun yung susundan mo hanggang sa matapos yung transactions mo. So, hindi ka pwedeng mag-start sa May 4 and then ang next mong transaction is May 1. So, hindi ka na. So, chronological order siya. Simula sa pinakaunang araw hanggang sa sumunod ng mga araw. Okay? Okay, gets niyo ba? Isa pa pala sa journalizing process. Dito sa journalizing process, i-analyze natin if it is a debit or a credit. Saang part siya ng debit, saang part ng credit, yung mga transactions nito. So, alam natin sa in basic accounting, diba? Kailangan balance. Kung may debit ka, dapat may credit ka din. Kasi hindi magbabalance ang isang transactions kung hindi siya balance. Okay, so, isa pa sa journalizing process, yung pagsusulat natin is, pag sa debit, hindi siya naka-indent. Pero pag credit na, may indentation siya ng konti. So, mamaya, papakita ko sa inyo kung paano magsulat sa general journal. Naghanda ko ng general journal dito para ma-visualize nyo kung ano yung gagawin natin sa journalizing at kung paano ba talaga sinusulat itong journalizing na ito. Okay, so ready na ba kayo? Okay, let's go! Okay guys, so dumako naman tayo sa ating example, transactions. Okay, so example natin dito ay si Mr. Donald Gray. So sabi dito, let's start na sa ating transaction number 1. Transaction number 1, sabi dito, on December 1, 2021, Mr. Donald Gray started Gray Electronic Repair Services by investing 10 million pesos. Okay, so yun yung ating first transaction. Paano natin siya isusulat? Okay guys, so here's our general journal. Dito tayo magre-record ng ating mga transactions using journalizing. Okay, so sa general journal, we have here the date. Kailan pa nangyari yung transaction. So, mamaya makikita nyo kung paano magsulat ng date sa general journal. Okay? So, next is account, titles, and explanation. Dito, ilalagay natin specifically kung anong part ng assets, liabilities, or equity yung meron or yung transaction na nangyari. So, yung reference number, ewan ko kung ano siya. So, disregard na lang natin siya kasi di naman natin siya magagamit. So, yan, once na na-analyze natin kung saan ba siya, debit or sa credit side. So, again, may mga indentation siya, may mga format siya kung paano siya isinusulat. So, nangyari itong buong transaction na ito, December year 2021. Okay, so para sa transaction number 1, on December 1, 2021, Mr. Donald Gray started Gray Electronic Repair Services by investing 10 million pesos. Okay, nag-invest si Mr. Donald Gray. Ano to? Sariling pera niya para sa kanyang business na ito. So, paano natin siya isusulat? So, let's start with the date. Lagyan natin dito 2021. start with the date. Dito na lang yung month. December and then December 1. Ayan. Account titles and explanation. Siyempre, nag-increase yung cash natin. Diba? Nag-increase yung cash. Yung asset natin pala. Asset in cash. So, pag debit, wala siyang indention. Kita nyo? Ayan. Lagyan natin sa debit 10 million pesos. Ayan. Ayan. Sabi ko kanina, kailangan balance siya. So, kailangan may credit tayo. Paano yun? May increase din tayo sa capital ni Mr. Gray. Since nagkaroon tayo ng pera sa ating business. May pumasok na pera and nag-increase yung ating capital. So, lagyan natin Mr. Gray's capital. Nag-increase din siya. Lagyan natin sa credit. $10 million. Ayan, so tapos na tayo sa transaction number 1. Let's move on to our transaction number 2. On December 5, Gray Electronic Repair Services paid registration and licensing fees for the business that cost 75,000 pesos. It is in cash. Okay, kasi may word na paid. So, meaning it is in cash. So, paano natin siya isulat? Let's go! Okay, so for our transaction number 2, na nangyari, mag-leave tayo ng space dito. Okay, so, dito tayo magsulat. December 5, ayan, December 5. December 5 yung ating second transaction. Sabi dito ay nagbayad si Mr. Gray ng 75,000 pesos para sa licensing fees ng businesses niya or ng business niya. Ayan, so lagyan natin taxes and licenses. Ayan. 75,000 pesos. Laki naman. So, bakit siya napunta sa debit? Since naglabas ka ng pera, expenses mo siya. Kaya nga ng rules natin, di ba? Ang expenses, debit siya. So, yan. Ano po yung credit natin? So, ayan. Nag-increase yung expenses mo, kaya siya naging debit. So, ang credit naman natin, nagbawas ka ng pera sa asset mo. Which is, nagbawas ka ng cash. Hindi siya medyo naka-indent. Ayan, 75,000 pesos. So, indent mo pala ng okay, so for our transaction number 3, on December 6, the company acquired tables, chairs, shelves, and other fixtures for a total of 300,000 pesos. So the entire amount was paid in cash. So yung buong amount na yun ay nabayaran in cash. So paano natin siya isusulat? Okay, sabi rito yung business daw or yung company ay bumili ng mga furnitures and fixtures. Paano natin siya isusulat? Sulat natin yung date, December 6. So lagyan natin furnitures and fixtures. Naglabas sila ng pera na 300,000 pesos for the furnitures and fixtures. So, yung furnitures and fixtures natin, kabilang siya sa asset natin. So, nadagdagan yung asset ng ating company. So, lalagyan natin siya sa debit. Okay? How about the credit? Siyempre, naglabas ka ng pera and pinayaran mo ito in cash. So, credit siya sa ating asset na cash. Cash. Yan, 300,000 pesos. Okay. Okay, so next for our transaction number 4, on December 7, the company acquired service equipment for 16,000. The company paid 8,000 down payment and the balance will be paid after 60 days. So on December 7, itong company na ito ay nag-acquire ng mga service equipment. So kumuha sila ng mga service equipment na nagko-cost ng 16,000. So ito yung sitwasyon. Yung kumpanya, nagbayad sila ng 8,000 cash, on cash, down payment nila. So 8,000 lang yun, may natitira pang isang 8,000. And yung balance na 8,000 na natitira na yun ay babayaran daw nila after 60 days. So, if i-calculate natin, 60 days is equals to 2 months. So, after 2 months pa nila mababayaran yung another 8,000. So, paano natin siya i-record sa ating general journal? Okay, so medyo mahaba ang ating transaction. So, mag-leave tayo ng space and leave tayo sa column na ito. Sa row pala ito. December 7. Ayan. So, service equipment. Debit or credit? Nagkaroon tayo ng increase sa asset natin kasi nag-acquire tayo ng mga service equipment. So, increase in asset, lalagay natin yan sa debit, 16,000 pesos. Okay, next is, sabi ron, di ba, nagbayad sila ng 8,000 in cash para sa down payment ng kanilang binili. So, cash, debit or credit? Siyempre, yan ay sa credit. Why? Kasi naglabas ka ng pera. Okay, yung cash na to ay part siya ng asset, but it's also an expenses ng ating kumpanya. Kaya ito ay nasa credit. So, lalagyan natin 8,000. Ang sabi nila, meron pa tayong balance. So, we have balance na dapat pang mabayaran. Hindi pa natin siya nababayaran. So, may balance pa tayo. Paano yun? Sa, accounts payable. Accounts payable. Kasi meron tayong liability. Nagkaroon tayo ng liability. Positive siya or negative? It is a positive. Nagkaroon tayo ng increase in liability. Ang tanong, debit or credit? Okay, so kung babalikan natin yung rules natin, ang liabilities, sila ay laging nasa credit. Okay, so yan yan. Okay, so natapos tayo sa transaction number 4. Next naman is transaction number 5. Ito, same date sila nangyari. Also on December 7, Gray Electronic Repair Services purchased service supplies on account amounting to 15,000. So, nag-purchase sila ng service supplies on account. So, ibig sabihin, nag-purchase lang sila. Hindi pa nila ito nababayaran in cash. So, ibig sabihin, on account. Nasa account pa lang nila yung amount na ibibigay. So, for our transaction 5, nangyari rin to December 7. So, lagay na rin natin. December 7. Yan, December 7. So, December 7, nag-purchase sila ng service supplies on account, amounting to 15,000. So, lagay natin service supplies. Ay, service supplies. Na nagkakalaga ng 15,000. Ang tanong, debit ba siya or credit? Nagkaroon na naman tayo ng asset. So, there's an increase in our asset. So, automatically, dito siya sa debit. Lagyan natin 15,000 pesos. But, hindi pa siya nababayaran. Sabi dito, pinurchase nila ito on account. Ibig sabihin, nasa account pa lang nila yung pera. So, may utang tayo. Nagkaroon tayo ng liability. Accounts payable. Kasi on account. Okay. Accounts payable. 15,000. Lagi natin tatandaan na kapag liability, it's always on the credit side. Okay. Okay, so let's move on sa ating transaction number 6. On December 9, the company received 1,900 for services rendered. Okay, so nagbigay na siya ng services dun sa kanilang mga customer and nakatanggap na rin sila ng bayad from the customers. So, nagkakalagahan ng 1,900 pesos. Susulat. Okay, so lagyan natin yung date, December 9. December 9. Nakatanggap tayo naka-receive tayo ng cash worth 1,900. Naka-receive tayo. Ibig sabihin, it's our asset. So, lalagyan natin siya sa debit side. So, again, kapag nakatanggap tayo ng amount from the customer, syempre, income yun ng business mo. So, pag sinasabi natin income, ito ay service revenue. Dumagdag yung ating kita. May increase sa ating kita. Kapag income, sabi sa ating rules, sa accounting, it's always on the credit side. So, lagyan din natin dito, 1,900. Okay, so let's go back sa ating pag-analyze. So, for our transaction number 7, on December 12, the company rendered services on account na nagkakalgahan ng 4,250 pesos. As per agreement with the customer, the amount is to be collected after 10 days. So, nag-render ka ng service. Wala pang bayad. Pero babayaran niya after 10 days. So, ganun yung sitwasyon. Sabi sa ating accrual basis of accounting, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-record ng income na hindi pa natin nare-receive. Okay? So, yun yung sabi doon. So, paano yun? Paano natin siya isusulat? Okay? So, for transaction number 7, December 12. December 12. Ayan. Naka-receive tayo. No. Nag-render tayo ng services. Pero, hindi pa natin siya nakukuha yung bayad ha? Yung bayad ng customer. So, paano natin siya i-record? So, meron tayong tinatawag na accounts receivable. Okay, so sa transaction na ito, sabi rito, may income na tayo. Hindi pa lang natin talaga siya nakukolect. So, meaning, it's on our accounts receivable. May ma-receive tayo na receivable na pera on account na nagkakalaga ng 4,250 pesos. So, ano pa? Para sa ating credit side, may income tayo. Fix yung income natin. Kahit hindi pa natin na-receive, fix yung income natin kasi nag-render tayo ng service. So, meron na naman tayong income. Service revenue. Sa credit side, syempre. 4,250 pesos. So, ganyan natin siya. So, again, itong accounts receivable, part siya ng asset natin. Kasi meron tayong makukuhang income. Okay, so let's go back sa ating pag-analyze. So, for our transaction number 7, on December 12, the company rendered services on account na nagkakalgahan ng 4,250 pesos. As per agreement with the customer, the amount is to be collected after 10 days. So, nag-render ka ng service. Wala pang bayad. Pero babayaran niya after 10 days. So, ganun yung sitwasyon. Sabi sa ating accrual basis of accounting, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-record ng income na hindi pa natin nare-receive. Okay, so yun yung sabi doon. So, paano yun? Paano natin siya isusulat? Okay, so for transaction number 7, December 12. December 12. Ayan. Naka-receive tayo. No. Nag-render tayo ng services. Pero hindi pa natin siya nakukuha yung bayad ha? Yung bayad ng customer. So, paano natin siya i-record. So, meron tayong tinatawag na accounts receivable. Okay, so sa transaction na ito, sabi dito, may income na tayo. Hindi pa lang natin talaga siya na-collect. So, meaning, it's on our accounts receivable. May marireceive tayo na receivable na pera on account na nagkakalaga ng 4,250 pesos. So, ano pa? Para sa ating credit side, may income tayo. Fix yung income natin. Kahit hindi pa natin na-receive, fix yung income natin kasi nag-render tayo ng service. So, meron na naman tayong income, service revenue. Sa credit side, syempre, 4,250 pesos. So, ganyan natin siya. So, again, itong accounts receivable, part siya ng asset natin. Kasi meron tayong makukuhang income, kukuhang money on account ka lang. Okay. Okay, malapit na po tayo sa katapusan. Okay, so sa transaction number 8, on December 14, Mr. Gray invested an additional 200,000 into the business. So, parang same lang din yung ating transaction number 1. So, sabi dito, nag-invest ulit si Mr. Gray ng 200,000 para sa business nila. Yun. So, just like what we did on our transaction number 1, para sa transaction number 8 na tayo, December 14, yan. Mr. Gray invested. So, investment on cash, syempre. So, may asset na naman tayo. Nagkaroon tayo ng cash. May pumasok na cash sa business natin. And, katulad lang din nung nasa ating transaction number 1, yung capital natin is nag-increase din. Mr. Gray's capital increases. Pag capital, again, ito ay naging nasa credit side. 100 capital. Okay, so yan lang. Okay, so let's move on sa ating transaction number 9. Number 9 na po tayo. Sabi dito, yung business ay nag-render ng service to a big corporation on December 15. As per agreement, the 3,400 amount due will be collected after 30 days. So, parang sitwasyon lang din kanina. Nag-render ka ng service, pero hindi mo pa siya pwedeng receive. Kasi, mayroong kasunduan na ma-receive mo lang after 30 days. So, paano siya? Isusulat ko din. Okay, so, sabi rin December 15. Ayan. Meron na naman tayong paparating na pera. Okay, ano nga tawag natin doon? Asset natin siya. And marireceive natin siya. So, obviously, it is our accounts receivable. Ay, nagkakalagahan ng 3,400 pesos. Ayan. And also, may income, fix, again, yung income natin fix siya kahit hindi pa natin na kukuha yung bayad. Kasi, for sure, is magbabayad naman yun. Kahit ano pang way ng pagbabayad nila, may income tayo. Fix yung income. Ano ba? Fix yung income natin. Service revenue. Ayan. Since it is our income, dito siya sa ayan. Ayan, dito siya sa ating credit side. So, yun. Okay, so, dyan pa ba kayo? Okay, so in transaction number 10, on December 22, the company collected from the customer in transaction number 7. So, yung accounts receivable na ma-receive natin on transaction number 7 is na-collect na itong December 22. So, paano natin siya isusulat? So, December 22. Ayan. So, itong transaction na ito ay nangyari na transaction number 7. Meron tayong accounts receivable. Asa na yun? Ito siya. 4,250. So, nangyari, na-collect na natin siya. So, may pumasok na cash. Ito na. May pumasok na cash sa atin. 4,250. And since, lagyan natin dito accounts receivable. Ayan. So, since na-collect na natin yung utang sa atin, babawasan na natin yung sa accounts receivable natin. So, magiging, mag-zero na siya. Credit side. Okay, gets? Ayan, so okay for our transaction 11. Sabi dito, on December 23, the company paid some of its liability in transaction 5 by issuing a check. So, the company paid 5,000 of the 15,000 payable. So, meron tayong utang na 15,000 sa transaction number 5, kung maalala nyo. So, ang nangyari, si business ay nagbayad ng 5,000. So, binawasan nila yung kanyang utang. So, paano natin siya isusulat? Okay, so to record the date, ito ay nasa, ayan, transaction 11. So, nilagyan ko na siya ng ganyan para hindi tayo malito. So, December 23. Ayan. Tayo ay nagbayad ng ating utang. So, accounts payable. Since kanina, as in transaction number 5 natin, ayan, kita nyo, meron tayong accounts payable on credit side. Kasi nagkaroon tayong liability. Ngayon, babawasan natin ito, magiging debit na siya. So, magkano binayad natin? 5,000 pa lang. 5,000. So, on our credit side, naglabas tayo ng cash, pambayad dito, and expenses natin doon. So, talagyan natin sa credit side. Kung ima-minus natin, hindi pa siya totally paid. Yung utang natin na 15,000 ay hindi pa totally paid. So, may balance pa tayo na 10,000. So, yan lang muna yung ating transaction for number 11. Okay, so for our transaction 12, on December 25, the owner withdrew cash due to an emergency need. So, nag-withdraw daw si Mr. Gray ng 7,000 from the company. So, paano natin siya isusulat? So, sabi ron December 25. So, lagay natin December 25, Christmas. Nag-withdraw si Mr. Gray ng 7,000 from the company. Lagay natin dito Mr. Gray. Siya ay nasa debit side. So, yun lang yung rule. Kapag withdrawal or mga drawings, lagi siya nasa debit side. So, yun yung rules natin. Mr. Gray's drawings. Yan. He withdrew 7,000 pesos. Pera siya ng kumpanya. So, nawalan tayo ng cash. Ay, nawalan tayo ng pera sa kumpanya. So, yun ang ating i-credit. Yan. Nabawasan tayo ng asset. So, lagyan natin siya sa credit. Ayan. Credit. Okay, so, konting-konti na lang. Malalapit. So, transaction number 13, on December 29, the company paid rent for December. 1,500. So, nagbayad ng renta ang kumpanya. 1,500 lang. Okay guys, so as you can see, nag-add tayo ng another general journal kasi puno na siya. So, nilagyan ko na rin ng date, December 29, rent expense. So, i-debit natin siya. Kasi part siya ng ating asset. 1,500. Ito yung bayad sa renta. Siyempre, nagkaroon tayo ng bawas sa ating cash. Okay. Credit natin. Yan, okay. So, yun lang. Okay, so for our transaction number 14, very konti na lang. December 30, the company acquired a 12,000 short-term bank loan. So, the entire amount plus 10% interest is payable after 1 year. So, nagkaroon tayo ng utang sa bangko. So, ganito siya. Okay, so, ganito lang siya kasimple. December 30. Give tayo ng space. Dito na space. December 30, ayan, nag-loan tayo sa bangko. Umutang tayo sa bangko. So, matik yun, may pumasok na pera sa ating business. So, lagay natin siya sa cash. Asset natin siya. So, debit side. Magkano? 12,000. Kaso, yun nga, loan natin siya. Ibig sabihin, utang natin siya sa bangko. So, loans payable. Loans payable. Or, meron din tayong tawag ng notes payable. Notes payable. Ayan. 12,000 na credit side. Lahat ng liabilities natin, so always on credit side. So, yun lang. Okay, so, ready na ba kayo for our last transaction? Finally, transaction number 15. On December 31, the company paid salaries to its employees. Na nagkakahalagang 350,000 in total. December 31, nagbayad tayo ng salaries sa ating mga employees. Lagyan natin dito salaries, expense. 350,000. Sabi ko nga kapag expenses, debit. 350,000. Ayan. Ang credit naman natin, syempre, naglabas ka ng pera pambayad. Cash. 350,000. Yay! Okay guys, so ayan yung ating transactions for Mr. Gray's company. Ayan. From December 1 hanggang December 31, year 2021. So, yan, tapos natin siya. So, ganun lang ang pagsusulat ng general journal. Ganun lang ang pagre-record ng general journal. And it is important to analyze every detail ng transaction. Kasi dan tayo, minsan baka magkamali. So, kailangan, yung comprehension natin ay kailangan malalim. Sabihin na. Okay guys, so natapos natin lahat ng pagre-record using the general journal. And again, this process ay tinatawag na journalizing. Okay, part yun ng accounting. Kalilimutan, ha? And, ano pa ba? So, yun, sabi ko kanina, kailangan natin ng malalim na comprehension sa lahat ng detalye ng transaction natin. Mahalaga yun. So, ayun lang. Salamat sa pakikinig and I hope na meron kayo natutunan. Ayun, tapos na.
So next, we will discuss about the accounting equation. So the fundamental accounting equation, also called the balance sheet equation, is the foundation for the double entry bookkeeping system and the cornerstone of accounting science. Like any equation, each side will always be equal. So, yung ating accounting equation ay tinatawag din na balance sheet equation. So, dito sa balance sheet, dito natin nilalagay yung mga transactions or let's say for example, mga utang and yung mga pag-aari ng company natin. Doon natin nilalagay yung mga transactions or nililist natin yung mga pumapasok at lumalabas na pera doon sa isang business or sa isang company. So, the accounting equation means that the asset is equal to the sum of liabilities and owner's equity. So, discuss muna natin yung assets. So, asset is a resource that is expected to provide a future benefit to its owner. So kapag sinabi nating asset, ito yung mga pag-aari ng isang company. For example, yung mga machinery, yung mga documents, yung mga copyrights, and then yung mga pera na nandoon sa loob ng company. Next naman natin is yung liabilities. Liabilities refer to the debts or financial obligations of the business owed to others. So, kapag sinabi nating liabilities, for example, nagtayo tayo ng isang business natin, pero kulang pa yung naipon nating puhunan. So, ang gagawin natin, syempre, mangungutang tayo sa iba nating makakilala, like say, dun sa mga friends natin, families natin, or kaya sa bangko. And dahil doon, nagkakaroon tayo ng liabilities. So, yung liabilities, ito yung mga debt or yung mga utang natin na kailangan nating bayaran sa ibang tao or utang ng company natin sa ibang tao. So, last natin is yung owner's equity. Owner's equity is the portion of a company's assets that an owner can claim. It's what's left after subtracting a company's liabilities from its assets. Kapag naman nasa owner's equity, ito naman yung mga pag-aari na pwedeng i-claim nung owner. For example, yung mga tubo. So, syempre, kapag nagtayo ka ng business, kapag lumago yun, yung owner, yung pwedeng mag-claim nun. Kasi, syempre, sa kanya naman yung tubo nun. So, para mas maintindihan natin yung about sa accounting equation, meron tayo ditong binigay na example para mas maintindihan natin kung paano nga ba sinusolve or nilalagay sa balance sheet yung ating assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. So, meron tayong example dito ng accounting equation para mas maintindihan natin kung paano nga ba siya sinusolve. So, kung babalikan natin yung diniscuss nating accounting equation kanina, nakalagay doon na assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So, ang gagawin natin dito, meron tayo ditong situation number 1. Yung assets, may nakalagay na 200,000 and yung liabilities natin ay mayroong 70,000. So, para mahanap natin yung ating owner's equity or capital, isasubtract natin yung liabilities natin doon sa ating asset. So, 200,000 minus 70,000 is equals to 130,000. Yun yung ating owner's equity. And then, yung sa ating situation number 2, sa assets natin, nawawala yung asset natin. So, dun tayo sa liabilities, meron tayong 40,000 and yung ating owner's equity ay merong 120,000. Andun nga kanina sa ating equation, pagpa-plusin natin yung liabilities and owner's equity para makuha natin yung ating asset. So, 40,000 plus 120,000 is equal to 160,000. So, next, situation number 3. 1,400,000 yung ating asset and nawawala yung ating liabilities. Sa ating owner's equity naman ay meron tayong 1,100,000. So, para mahanap yung liabilities natin, kailangan ulit natin isubtract. Kagaya nung ginawa natin sa situation number 1. So, 1,400,000 minus 1,100,000 is equals to 300,000 sa ating liabilities. Next is situation number 4. Meron tayong 800,000 sa ating asset and nawawala ulit yung ating liabilities. While meron naman tayong 600,000 sa ating owner's equity or capital. So, minus assets and owner's equity, meron tayong 200,000. Next, situation number 5. Yung ating assets ay nawawala. And meron tayong sa liabilities natin may 2,300,000. And yung sa ating owner's equity naman, meron tayong 7,700,000. So, kapag pinag-plus natin yung dalawa, magkakaroon tayo ng sum na 10 million. So, as you can see, balance lagi yung ating accounting equation. Kasi once na may nagkulang sa ating accounting equation, it means na hindi na siya balance or may kulang tayong transaction doon or may mali tayong transaction na nailagay sa ating accounting equation. So, kapag nangyari yun, kapag nagkulang yung ating accounting equation, maaari yung makaapekto sa operation ng ating company. Maaring malugi yung company natin dahil mali-mali or kulang yung nalalagay natin sa ating accounting equation.
Hello everyone! Today, we will be discussing adjusting entries. Journal entries din siya na ginagawa natin. So, kailan daw po at the end of the accounting period. So, monthly yung accounting period mo, month end. Kapag yearly naman is year end adjustment siya. Kailan ginagawa? Before closing procedures. Meron kasi tayong step na tinatawag natin closing procedures. Ang adjustment na ginagawa bago tayo mag-close, accounting close. Now, para saan daw po yung adjusting entries, update balances or asset and revenues and expenses. Ina-update natin kung tama ba yung mga balance na nilalagay natin sa ledger. Para saan? To make them ready for the preparation of our financial reports. So that para kapag nilabas natin yung financial reports or statements, yung ating mga balances at mga reports doon is tama.
So, sa December 31 naman, ilalagay natin yung debit office supplies expenses. And then, ang ilalagay natin is 60,000. And then, next naman is credit office supplies, 60,000 din. Tapos, gagawin na natin siyang T-account kung magpa-balance ba siya. Dito ilalagay natin is office supplies. Tapos pangalawa naman is office supplies expenses. So sa debit office supplies nakuha natin is 100,000. Ilalagay natin siya sa office supplies. And then next naman is office supplies expense naman, debit din siya is 60,000. Ilalagay natin siya sa office supplies expense. And then sa credit office supplies is 60,000 din. And then ibabalance na natin siya. 100,000 minus 60,000 is equal 40,000. And then sa office supplies expenses naman is remaining lang siya dun sa 60,000 na So, bukod dito sa nasagutan natin, meron pang ibang way kung paano masasolve yung adjusting entries, prepaid expenses. So, dito naman is lalagay natin yung office supplies expense, debit siya. Lalagay natin yung total na 100,000. And then, sa credit naman is cash, 100,000 din. So, other companies would do that way. Ginasa natin yung lahat ng office supplies na yan. At the end of the period, nalaman natin na yung 40,000 yung remaining natin. So, kung i-analyze natin, 100,000 yung office supplies natin, tapos 40,000 pa pala yung remaining, dapat yung expense lang natin is 60,000. Babawasan natin yan kasi overstated na yung expense. So, ano naman yung gagawin nating adjusting entries sa December 31? Kung yung ganito yung unang natin mangyayari. So debit office supplies. Yung natira, kung magkano yung natira, 40,000, and then credit office supplies expenses 40,000 din. So this is the office supplies, and then office supplies expenses. Debit office supplies is 100,000, and then credit cash naman is 100,000 din. And then debit office supplies is 40,000, and then credit office supplies is 40,000 din. Ibabalance na natin siya. Office supplies is still remain siya ng 40,000. And then yung office supplies expense 100,000 minus 40,000, it gives you 60,000. Office supplies under this method is 40,000, and office supplies this method is 40,000 din. Office supplies expense dito is 60,000, and then this method naman is 60,000 remain din. Parehas lang sila kahit ibang method or ibang mga method yung gamitin natin, parehas lang silang magiging sagot.